how do you remember Takutai Kemp?
Takutai and I have a wakapapa connection and a aratana connection as well. So I always remember her for her wakapapa. She comes from a really big wakapapa in particularly in Ngāroru, the Kauika line. So, and she was raised by her kuia, so she always had this very old, calm way about her. So I always remember her as the weaver between us all, and the one that would stop and have the cup of tea, and the one that would make time to see that everyone was okay, even before she was. So, yeah.
And this must have come as a shock overnight. How is the party doing?
Yeah, I mean, we're broken. It was our first day back from suspension today, so we were all sort of a bit excited about that. And she'd had some of her best days. She was really passionate about what she was doing, and we thought actually she was doing much better. So, yeah, so we are just devastated. It's not what we expected to wake up to. So the parties, we're just wahangu, we're just silence with grief and devastation, obviously, for her mama who was here with her sister who also works here, her parents, her son and her daughter and her moko who she just had here. Takutai was very, very whānau orientated, so yeah, we're just broken as a movement, and we're just all leaning into each other and sort of taking the impact. And I guess the hardest thing with this is that Takutai was so well known and so profiled that we actually have to have quite a openness about the rawness of our grief and things like that. So yeah.
And I apologise if it's a difficult question, but this must have been challenging for you as her co-leader to guide Takutai through what must have been an incredibly challenging health battle. Yeah. How did you guide her through that while she's doing such a demanding job?
I think one of the things that Takutai refused to do from the moment that she got the shock of the diagnosis was to let it define her. Naturally, our first thing was to act as whānau and say, well, that's it. We're worried about you. You stop now. It doesn't matter about the movement. You need to put yourself first and your whānau first. And she just fought us every step of the way. She was so passionate, not just for everything that she was doing on the ground, for having an understanding of whānau that aren't connected to their marae and hapu, living in urban life, for those who are struggling. She had a huge passion for rangatahi, always had kaumātua around her. She loved Manurewa marae. She loved there. And so she just fought us every step of the way and just said, no, I'm going to work it out. I'm going to take my time off to get better. I'm going to fit my dialysis in. I'm going to get out on the road. And every time we tried to slow her down, she'd come back and take us on. And I think that was the tenacity, the true spirit of her. And in all of that, it was some of our roughest times, because we've had, they've come on with the new MPs with a different style of politicking and government. But she would never, ever let her well-being get in the way. At times would be, not only as her whanaunga, and I've got to confront her hapu and her iwi, her whānau on the ground, because I still live in Taranaki, and would be like stalking over and, okay, that's it, finish, and we can do this. And she'd no, I've got your shift, Fire Deb, you need to go and do this. I've got your backs, co-leaders, you need to go and do this. She would take on everything and more if it meant that the movement was where it needed to be, because her love for the movement. She stood up in Tamaki Makaurau when no one else would, and she had some tough times, and she would never ever let that ever rock her love for her party, for Te Pāti Māori. So yeah, and I think one of the things I will say is that, in case it's not obvious, there's some really strong personalities in Te Pāti Māori. We represent huge electorates. We have different kaupapa that we're passionate about, and like a real whānau, that has its own interesting, fun and dynamics. She was the peacemaker the smoother, the calmer, the bring us all together, and the water that flowed between us all to keep us united. And so, it's, that's really the spirit of who she was, and I think that depicts her being of Ratana, being Moehu, that depicts her being Ngāroru, Mokai Pātia. So
quite incredible to see her in Parliament just yesterday. Is that who she was? Someone who showed up despite everything going on in her life?
She was that and more. And we often don't talk about the quietest leaders. She would turn up when we said we were doing this. She fronted she had the whole, debacle of the stuff that we've seen come out of Brian Tamaki's camp, and some really revolting politics. She never, ever, ever swayed from that. Even in her election process, we had to go back for a recount. She never, ever let the stress or any of that show in anything she did. She turned up beautifully. She behaved beautifully. And I think that was the mana and the dignity, the way that she carried herself, and how you saw in Parliament, is the way that she behaved in caucus, is the way that she behaved on the ground. She just showed up and showed up. And I think the hardest thing for today is realising she's not going to show up tomorrow. So, yeah. I know we politically go at each other because we know everyone here is there for their reasons and to serve their communities. From the moment that everyone has heard, we've had texts and messages and beautiful tributes to Takutai. It was really significant to come across here and see the flag down and to see the respect that the house is rising. And I'm really grateful for her and her whānau, and for us to know that there will be acknowledgements of her today. But I personally am really keen to get up by her. We want to go by her and get by her.
And Tamaki Makaurau is a significant seat. Do you have a message to the people of her electorate, and is that a seat that Te Pāti Māori would like to hold on to?
Oh, my message to her people and to those who believed in her is that Takutai is passionate for not only you, but also her movement was recognising that no one else will look after them. No one else will make sure they're not left behind, make sure their voices and their faces are heard in this place. And I feel real aroha and gratitude to them for giving us the honour of her representing them, and the honour of being beside us. She is more than a politician. She was a member of our whānau, and I know to all those in Tamaki Makaurau, she was, you were a member of her whānau too. So we all grieve together, and I think that's the most important thing today, is to acknowledge that she was a servant for the people, and she falls doing what she loved most, which was serving her people.
Thank you. And my final question is, what details can you provide to us about where you go from here? Will there be a public acknowledgement of Takutai?
Yeah, I think at the moment, I think we've all, she has, whānau that are coming together. The hardest thing again is that, the reconciliation of her being so public and a servant for the public, and then also giving her whānau the privacy to be able to come together. They meet this afternoon, and then they'll decide what to do, and we'll be with her all the way until we return her to her tupuna, and she will be one of the brightest stars in this new year, and we'll honour her for being one of the newest stars.
Thank you very much, Debbie.
No worries.